Bottle Boy, a man desperately in need of a haircut. Today's show is a four-paper show. We've got The Sun, The Mirror, The Daily Mail, and The Times. Yes, is that right? It is right. God, my hair is just awful. Anyway, so obviously the big story today, or the story that's covered on all the papers that we are looking at, is the death of Charlie Watts at 80. So that's going to be covered a lot today. Otherwise, obviously, Afghanistan still dominating the headlines. Hardly surprising. We will do a speed run through the Mirror today, starting off with The Sun, moving on to speed run on the Mirror, before ending on the Times and the Daily Mail. Yes, so good afternoon, Maya. How are you doing? I was just complaining about my hair, and it continues to annoy me. I'm going to have to get it cut tomorrow. It's the only answer. Right, so we're going to, as I say, most of the papers, all of the papers we're covering today have Charlie Watts on the front page. No surprise, really. As I said yesterday, it's a bit like one of the heads on Mount Rushmore vanishing, sort of, one of those kind of culture-defining deaths. Anyway, top of the page in The Sun, aside from the Charlie Watts story, is a Love Island exclusive, an interview with the winners of this year's Love Island, Liam and Millie. Do I know much about them? No. Someone says, get my hair cut, or start styling it in cute bunches. It's an option. It's not one I'm looking to go for. Yes, Love Island story on the front page of The Sun. Today's newsletter is sort of about Love Island, but more about the moral hypocrisy of the papers. So if you haven't read that, boom, there it is. There's a link to go and read it. Good afternoon to you, Studying Fangirl. How are you doing? Hello, Red Tick Seed. How are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. As I was saying before, some people join the stream. The big story of the day is obviously going to be the death of Charlie Watts at 80, and that is on the cover of all the papers we're looking at today. Right, so moving on to the guts of The Sun. On page 3, that isn't page 3, but is page 3, actress Angela Sarafian. She's 38 and stars in the sci-fi film Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman and Tandy Wayne Newton. She's pictured in a black bodysuit for some reason. She previously appeared in Westworld with Tandy Wayne Newton and Hugh Jackman. So there you go. Also on page 3, they're making a big deal over this, one person saying that they didn't like the tiger who came to tea for, various reasons about why the tiger wasn't female or gender neutral, and questioning the stereotypical ending where the dad returns from work and saves the day by taking his family to a cafe. Okay, it's an opinion, isn't it? But, of course, remember, opinions that are not given a tick of approval by The Sun, you're just not allowed to have them. Moving on, pages 4 and 5, obviously, dedicated to the death of Charlie Watts. Main headline: he's the coolest guy I know. My aim is to be as cool as Charlie. It's a quote from Keith Richards, obviously from some time before Watts' death. Elton John said he was the ultimate drummer. Sir Paul McCartney said he was a lovely guy and a fantastic drummer. Joan Jett said he was elegant and dignified. Bryan Adams called him one of the greatest drummers ever. Ringo Starr said, we're going to miss you, peace and love. Of course he said peace and love. Ringo Starr can't say a single sentence without saying the phrase peace and love. Tom Morello called him one of the most important architects of the music we love. Stuart Copeland called him a unique, iconic drummer and a giant. And Nile Rodgers, enjoy your noodles. And Nile Rodgers didn't say enjoy your noodles, said, you are a smooth brother, thanks for all the music. Hey Chronotherm, how you doing? On pages 6 and 7, and more on that former Marine who has the dog shelter in Kabul. The headline, Save Dogs of War. Hero Char says, rescue flight, refuse plea for 173 pets. But Ben Wallace, the Defence Secretary, said, people come first. Which, I love dogs, but really that should be the case. On page 9, missing chef murder clue. Cops new hunt for Claudia in gravel pit. Most of the papers that have this on their front pages today. Some doesn't. This is Claudia Lawrence, who went missing 12 years ago. There's apparently a new lead, and they're searching the gravel pits near her home. So hopefully some closure for her family. On page 10, Trevor Kavanagh, the ever awful Trevor Kavanagh, says Boris' $7 billion bribe could stop Taliban blocking rescues. They shove a tiny story about the Rebecca Vardy Colleen Rooney legal action. Rebecca Vardy has denied she sold secrets to the press in the latest round of her legal battle. She denied being the Sun's secret WAG columnist. Also on that page, Bankers Sex Blow, an online subscription service ban on sexually explicit content has been blamed on the banks. That's how they cover the OnlyFans things. But Bankers Sex Blow suggests a headline of a completely different story. Also on page 11, £50,000 ring is taken in Katie assault. Police are investigating claims Kate Price had her 7-carat diamond engagement ring taken during her alleged assault. The rock, believed to be worth around £50,000, was custom made for 43-year-old Katie by a jeweller in East London, but the mum of 5 has claimed she was victim of physical assault at her home in Essex in the early hours of Monday, and a source said yesterday Katie no longer has her ring. It cost thousands but went during the incident. It was given to her by her partner Carl Woods, a car dealer who made a brief appearance on the 2016 series of Love Island. Okay, Farage as fuck face put an Ipso complaint in about a paper reporting Bergen wanted to pay compensation to Taliban, predicting they'd dismiss it for BS reasons. Way to misrepresent the OnlyFans story, but it's not like the Sun gives a fuck about sex workers, says Slankamaya. Yeah, I'd say they probably will dismiss it for bullshit reasons, Farage as fuck face, but you are correct to say that it is a complete distortion of what Bergen actually said. Jane Moore is awful and is having a go at Maura Higgins for promoting Anne Summers. She said one of Maura's things is a zip-up bodysuit, and Jane Moore writes, presumably it's my age, but I first thought that it's very much an outfit for those whose nether regions are hairless. Fucking Jane Moore, I can't stand her. Red Tixie, Jane Less, yes. Correct. There's a beach hut that was apparently on sale for £355,000, more the cost of 4-bed house in some places. Agents think prices for the wooden cabins with no water or electricity at Moodford, Dorset, could go over £400,000 this year. Yes, this is a very sensible and healthy property market, isn't it? Fuck me. Right, on page 14 and 15 is their interview with the Love Island winners. Liam, I'm moving from Wales to Essex to be with Millie, was sort of like Gavin and Stacey. What unbearable. On page 17, one L of a show. Ellie Simmons kicking off the Paralympics. I guess that's a fine headline. There's Simon Cowell's been seen riding a bike, so that's a story. Fire has killed. Fire at a caravan park has resulted in the death of a 2-year-old child, which is horrible. Gavin Rossdale spent 14 years married to Gwen Stefani. He's now dating a singer called a model called Gwen Singer. Gwen is 6 years younger. 26 years old than Gavin Rossdale's oldest daughter, Daisy Lowe, who is 32. That is a grotesque. There's a story, they're covering the milkshake shortage at McDonald's, and they managed to do so without mentioning the term Brexit once. What a surprise. On page 25, gonna need a smaller boat. Jaws Jr., swimmer bitten by 4-foot fish at busy Costa Beach. That is a beach in Benidorm rather than a beach owned by the coffee company. The coffee. Anyway, there you go. Look, who gives a fuck? Right, this is a terrible... I mean, the Sun is bad normally, but it's an awful disrespect. Ritz crackers, son and mum, only ones in posh diner. A mum and her son were amazed at being the only people in the Ritz restaurant for dinner. They had all 5 waiting staff to themselves for a £250 champagne meal in the Michelin-starred venue in central London. Fine, whatever, it happens. I mean, after Grealish's own goal in daft trousers, other dodgy football outfits, various ugly outfits that footballers have worn. They are pretty ugly, to be fair. Hey, Industrial Pet, how you doing? Good to see you. In the TV news, who cares? Last night, Britannia on Sky Atlantic gets an okay review. Today's recommendations, Extreme Food Phobics on W Channel, Burning Man Art on Fire. Honestly, I could not give a shit about Burning Man Festival. 8 p.m. Sky Arts, and Great Canal Journeys More 4 as Sheila Hancock and Giles Brandreth travel around on a narrowboat in a TV idea that sounds like an Alan Partridge pitch. In today's Dear Deirdre, someone writes, my daughter drove lover away, but I'm having a baby. Asked my boyfriend to move out because my daughter didn't want him here was my biggest mistake. My daughter is 12 and can be very manipulative. Wife caught me... I mean, don't blame a 12-year-old child for your issues. Wife caught me with her little sis. I got caught having sex with my sister-in-law while we're on holiday, and now I've lost everything. Well... if this is a real person, you fucking deserve to. Hoarder mum will not sort out life. My mum has come to live with me as her home has become uninhabitable. I'm 45 and have grown up children. Mum is 79. Agreement was she would help me clear out her home so she could return to live there. But 6 months have passed. She haven't lifted a finger. Well, it's a serious problem, isn't it? His pals hate me and call me a nag. Well, your boyfriend is a twat for letting them. And nighttime ordeal with my best mate. I woke up in the night to find my best friend pleasuring himself and telling me he loved me. That is a sexual assault. Fab Daily. Moving into the house my hubby lived in with his ex was hell. Who's written this? Well, it's Samantha Brick, a woman who, for the Daily Mail, The Sun and others, has absolutely mined her personal life for this stuff. On page 36, I was bad at dating, but now I help singles get married at first sight. Married at first sight is a really bad idea. Did the woman who threw out her daughter say the daughter was 12? No, they didn't throw out the daughter. She threw out her boyfriend because her 12-year-old said she wanted him gone, is the claim. Not heard of Samantha Brick in ages. Yeah, she's still about, but nobody gives a shit anymore. On the £50 letter today comes from Christopher Carpenter, who is angry about Extinction Rebellion. Various other people have. Some people like Clive Myrie as the new Mastermind host, and there's some sympathy, justified sympathy for Katie Price, and more people who are angry about the Geronimo thing. Still fucking angry, I mean, seriously. Red Tick Seed, only Burning Man I care about is the giant wicker man I want to put journos in. And as you should, correctly, of course. Eamon Holmes is still advertising the vibrating pad for better circulation. Kill the llama, says Slinkamar. We are a pro Kill the llama stream. Really ugly thing that they're trying to sell you. It's a Clarice Cliff inspired copper touch bracelet. Yours for just $79.98. Yeah, ugly, ugly, ugly. Red Tick Seed once again chanting death in the chat. I have to create a llama emote, aren't I? A llama death emote. Club and Country Storm barred. Premier League tell FIFA you can't have our stars for World Cup ties, is what it says in the sport. That is a minus. That's a minus negative. That's a negative nice from me. A classic negative nice. A minus 69 for the Sun. That is today's first paper. Give me your scores. I'm going to do a roll call because I think I forgot to do one yesterday. Hey, Neon Lady, I hope you're feeling better today, by the way. Double negative nice from Slinker Meyer. In the chat so far today, we have Academy Impossible, Anglefur, another TT viewer, Billy Wilder, Farage's Fuckface, Friar Bentos, Industrial Pet, Chronotherm, Mogshed, hey, how you doing? My Door is Never, Ramon Fortuny, Red Tick Seed, the excellent Red Tick Seed, Ruvol 2085, Slenkamaya, if you're not familiar with her work, do go and check it out on Instagram. Studying Fangirl is here, our fine friend in Israel, the Neon Lady, and Whatnot 5. Thank you all for being here on today's show, the Wednesday show. Oh, yeah, great. I'm glad you're feeling better. Red Tick Seed won't be satisfied until he's bathed in Geronimo's blood, and it's a triple negative. Nice score there. Right, we're going to do... we'll do a speed round through the mirror because, frankly, the mirror is always tedious. Unsurprisingly, the mirror is also has also gone with Charlie Watts on the front page. A better picture than The Sun shows. It's a classic shot from 1991 of Charlie Watts with his drums. So yeah, let's see if I can do the mirror not in 3 minutes, but in 2 minutes flat. I think it's probably quite difficult, but let's give it a go. And it starts now. Okay, front page of the Mirror. Your ultimate drummer, rock world in mourning as Rolling Stones legend dies at 80. Beating Heart of the Stones is the headline they put inside. All the same tributes. Paint It Black is the second headline they give to another DPS about him. Charlie Watts dead, modest, shy, and a rock legend. On pages 6 and 7, they also cover the renewed hunt for Claudia Lawrence. On page 9, Emotional Katie, too upset to go back home. That's their follow-up story on Katie Price. Labour wants the Tories to come clean about secret billionaires, i.e. the people who are members of their donors' dining club. On pages 10 and 11, Deadline Day, Biden sticks to August 31st for America's Afghan pullout. Girl aged 2 days dies in blaze at Holiday Caravan Park. That's how they cover that story, a grim one. Our new Gold Rush, Tokyo Paralympics 2020, the opening ceremony. They give that another double page spread. They cover Alex Jones having her third child. I mean, whatever. Polly Hudson writes about giving gifts. On page 21, Judy Love has told of her grueling workouts to get in shape for her debut in Strictly. Jimmy, I blew £3 million on gambling habit. That's at Jimmy White, the snooker player. Emmerdale Star says playing a psycho is fun. The chief suspect in the Madeleine McCann case smuggled out another bizarre cartoon in which he mocks German prosecutors. Someone made a replica of Waterloo that took 48 years to do. There's various puzzles. Women still being stung over pensions, they say in the Mirror Money. That is accurate. Today's TV, they recommend the return of Gossip Girl. And in the sport, red list, red cards. Premier clubs ban 60 players from travelling to COVID hotspots for World Cup qualifiers. And we're done with 2 seconds to spare. That is today's Mirror. It's as reactionary as the other tabloids, but marginally more boring. So there you go. Right. Whew! Okay. It's 2 papers down, 2 papers to go in today's show. Remember, you can spend your Herzogs. Use them. They are down at the bottom. Press the little button at the bottom of the chat, and you will discover things you can spend your Herzogs on. I might add one, that allows you to demand the blood of the alpaca. But there are other things you can do, like make me drink water, or check my posture, or unlock a random subscriber emote, or suggest a poll, or various things. So anyway, was that a new PB for the Mirror? I believe it was 1 minute 58. A new personal best. I need to have a running chart, really, of these. A star in a reasonably priced car style chart. Maybe I'll make one. Right, so we're going to move on to the Times now. In shock news, Charlie Watts is on the front cover, as he should be, really. Right, so front page of the Times. Smart jackets, why they are a late summer hit. Well, because sometimes it's a little bit cool in the evenings. You might want a jacket. It's not fucking surprising, is it? More bullshit about campus culture wars. Of course, the story Rolling Stones mourn death of Watts at 80. And the bottom story on the page is UK races to rescue thousands. Fears of Britain's and Afghan allies as airport access restricted. Last evacuation flight likely to leave this week. And there's another first-person dispatch from Anthony Lloyd at Kabul airport. Classic bit of actual journalism there. Food shortages worst I've seen to the supermarket boss. That's the box of the Co-op. But yet again, trying to avoid really making it about Brexit, even though to a large extent it is. Brexit and the pandemic in combination. On page 3, big story about the National Trust suggesting that it will close in the hottest parts of the afternoon. Italian Duke stung by Sting's claim he was missold a vineyard. Son of an Italian aristocrat who sold Sting his Tuscan villa has hit back at the singer's claim that he was tricked into buying it when a glass of high-quality Barolo wine was passed off as Chianti produced on the estate. I mean, tiny violin for Sting. A new blood test could spare pregnant women from hospital stays. That's a good thing. Adult learners taking short skill courses will be offered at 20 universities will get flexible student loans, part of a government scheme intended to further its levelling up agenda. Once again, the Times writing that as if it's just an unquestionable thing, that there is a levelling up agenda, rather than, in fact, that being pure government rhetoric. On page 5 of the paper, a reluctant star ahead of his time, they write about Charlie Watts. Of course, there is a full obituary later in the paper. And at the bottom of that page, they cover the renewed hunt for Claudia Lawrence 12 years after she disappeared. On pages 6 and 7, only foreigners can leave, say the Taliban, as they block the airport. Basically, Boris Johnson is now doing this, suggesting that what they'll do is use Afghanistan's frozen assets as a kind of bribe to ensure safe passage of people that the UK wants out of Afghanistan. The CIA's the head of the CIA, William Burns, a career diplomat appointed by President Biden to be director of the CIA, has flown to Kabul and held discussions with the leader of the Taliban this week. They're not discussing what they talked about. I presume latest episodes of Rick and Morty, their favourite colours, what biscuits they enjoy, all that kind of stuff. Civilians are being killed without trial, the UN has warned. Again, are we surprised? Banks told to reopen, but Afghans fear ruin awaits, is the headline on Charlie Faulkner's, the Times correspondent in Kabul's report. They're once again bigging up Amal Masood, the son of the former Mujahideen commander, who is the lion cub, because of course we always need a new correct regime that we could install. There is apparently a plan to swap a drug lord for a US hostage. A tribal leader serving a life sentence in a US jail may be swapped for the last American hostage in Afghanistan. Haji Bashir Nurzai was arrested in New York on drug trafficking charges in April 2005. Been held at a jail in New Hampshire. He's been a potential bargaining chip for release of Mark Frerich, a US contractor abducted in January last year by men believed to be associated with the Haqqani network. On page 11, stab victim's friend creates device to stem the blood flow. This is quite an interesting thing. It's called the silicon balloon tamponade. Tamponade is a type of food. Tamponade. It's basically inserted into the wound, and the balloon expands to help the wound clot quicker. He's won an award. He's won a Dyson Award for that. A casino is trying to get £10 million in debt off a tycoon that it claims it owes him. One of London's most exclusive casinos is fighting to recover more than £10 million from a Chinese businessman whose checks bounced. It's the second time in as many years that the Ambassadors Club in Park Lane, which featured in the James Bond film Dr. No, has resorted to legal action to force wealthy foreign gamblers to honour alleged debt. In the most recent case, the High Court has ruled that Yu Songbo, once described as one of the 150 richest people in China and worth nearly £1 billion, failed to pay all of a £19 million debt occurred in 2018. Yu is known for having bought the lease to Grade 1 listed Brocket Hall in Hertfordshire in 2015, then apparently attempting to evict the 920 members of the associated golf course. He is believed to have restored their playing rights after facing legal action. Yesterday, Les Ambassadeurs failed to persuade the Court of Appeal to grant a worldwide freezing injunction on his assets. In the appeal ruling, it emerged that Yu began gambling at the club 7 years ago. In 2018, the businessman, who heads the Herun Group, a property development business based in Zhejiang, China, cashed checks at the club for £19 million in chips. But the court heard that all the checks were subsequently dishonoured. A repayment agreement having failed, the club brought legal proceedings. The appeal judges say Yu initially responded by making several payments to the club, and by the end of 2019 it reduced the debt to about $6.5 million. However, 8 months passed with the club hearing nothing apart from a Lunar New Year greeting. It reinitiated court proceedings. Yu failed to respond, and last November a High Court judge gave summary judgment in favour of the club. Les Ambassadeurs was awarded slightly more than $10 million to cover the principal, debt, interest and legal costs. Last April, having still heard nothing from Yu, the club returned to the High Court to apply for the freezing order. So there you go. Drinking tea apparently makes you better at solving puzzles, according to one study. Schools told to stay open, scrap bubbles and keep testing pupils. Jabs may give only a 50-50 protection to older people by winter. That's why they suggested booster jabs will be needed. They're making a big deal over the fact that Nigella Lawson decided to change the name of a recipe she used to call Slut Red Raspberries in Chardonnay jelly to Ruby Red Raspberries. The best part of this is them trying to get her to talk to the Times, and her spokesperson saying Lawson did not want to comment further on the issue. Thank you, Red Tick Seed. Mustard. Right, moving on. Apparently, even if you don't start exercising until later in life, you will live longer. Patients with heart disease are advised to engage in regular physical activity, strengthen the heart, and lower blood pressure and cholesterol levels. Researchers at the University of Bern in Switzerland investigated how activity levels over time affected the risk of premature death in patients. Meta-analysis examined data from 33,576 patients with coronary heart disease with an average age of 62. Compared with participants who were not active, the risk of death from cardiovascular disease was 51% lower among those who had always been active and 20% lower amongst those who were previously inactive but whose activity increased. I mean, are we surprised? Apparently also, you should drink water to cut the risk of heart failure. I drink mustard. Delicious. I'm going to take my hoodie off. I'm too warm. Voila. It is the Green Bear of Justice. And it says, eat trash. Right, moving on. Let's keep powering through the Times. Oh, I can see again. Taps off. Yeah, that will never happen in full. The paleness would white out the camera. Woman fled home after being stalked by an art dealer. Kensington art dealer has been charged with stalking after allegedly sending a woman who had rejected him a letter soaked in his aftershave and trying to push flowers from Waitrose through her window. I don't know why he gets to be called an art dealer rather than man. Interesting what jobs gain you the benefit of your professional life being taken into account when you have done something like that. Racial abuse salesman sacked for joining in banter. A salesman who complained about racist colleagues and was sacked for participating in offensive banter was unfairly dismissed. The tribunal has ruled. Sailesh Rathod, 49, was the only non-white salesman at a male-dominated Porsche dealership in Sutton Coldfield near Birmingham, which was described as having an extremely laddish culture. An employment tribunal in Nottingham was told how the sales floor at the garage was rife with sexism, racism and homophobia. When Rathod joined, he was the target of practical jokes and was called Chapati and Poppadom, as colleagues found it disgusting that he ate flatbread for lunch with his hands. Fuck them. Rutherford visited the dealership with his son on a day off. It is alleged that a banana was thrown onto the floor next to his son by a male colleague who said, "I want to see how he reacts," then laughed intensely. Rutherford said he had no choice but to go along with the environment as he was an outsider trying to integrate to keep my job. But his mental and physical health was affected and he raised a grievance with his bosses at Pendragon Sabre. Rutherford was sacked after being accused of subjecting a white colleague to racial and sexual harassment, the tribunal was told. Rutherford sued the dealership. The tribunal ruled that the bosses ignored the wider office culture. It said that Rutherford had been racially harassed. Good. They came to the correct judgment there. Employment judge Robert Clark called the culture at the dealership laddish, with topics of conversation including graphic and crude sexual references. The judge added that he found that the comments were neither inadvertent nor misguided. They amount to deliberate and aggressive expression of misogyny, hostility towards homosexuality and racism, sometimes focused on a particular female and sometimes even young females attending the dealership with their family. This place, more needs done about this. This particular laddish culture developed a more sinister level as it was infected by the overt prejudices, opinions and attitudes of some members. I found this influenced the way the team interacted, and the peer pressure meant it became the norm. The tribunal backed Rutherford's claim of unfair dismissal, and compensation will be determined at a later hearing. I hope he takes them to the cleaners. Friar Bentos. Porsche salesmen are usually so nice. Oh, God. Daniel Finkelstein writes, Starmer is still an enigma, and that's a problem. He's not an enigma. This fucking bullshit about Starmer being an enigma. Starmer is exactly what he appears to be. A boring technocrat who will say and do anything in his attempt to become Prime Minister. Something that will not happen. Slinkamai, you were absolutely right. Laddish is minimising. It's fucking gross. Much of that language in there was minimising. At least the tribunal came to the correct conclusion. Elsewhere in the comment section, the unfortunately named Roger Boys says, forget sanctions, we must talk to the Taliban. The Afghan economy is collapsing and cutting all aid money will play into the jihadist hands. He is correct. There's sanctions would be just another kind of war crime. Matthew Paris says, we're all like chickens. Whatever. At least he's not suggesting that an ethnic minority group be stripped of their status. God, I fucking hate Matthew Paris. Alice Thompson says a 4-day week could be COVID's greatest gift. Economists are warming to the idea that cutting hours might improve productivity while boosting worker contentment. If only we had had a major political party that suggested that in the manifesto, but was treated like it was a ridiculous idea. Fuck. Right, moving on. The birthdays today. Not happy birthday to the ever tedious Martin Amis, 72. Anjan Anand, the founder of The Spice Tailor and writer of I Love India, is 50. John Badham, the film director, Saturday Night Fever, is 82. Lord Conrad Black of Cross Harbour, chairman of the Telegraph Group until 2005, biographer of Roosevelt and Nixon and ex-con, is 77. David Briggs, the Lord Lieutenant of Cheshire, retires today. He's 75. Tim Burton, the film director, is 63. Elvis Costello is 67. Billy Ray Cyrus is 60. Sir Lloyd Dorfman, the founder of the Travelex Group and chairman of the Prince's Trust, as well as the Prince's Trust, and as well as the Parcel Network, Doddle, is 69. Nice, and yet not. John Fallon, the chairman of Warchild UK, chief executive of Pearson Publishing and Education Company until 2020, 59. Frederick Forsyth, known for Day of the Jackal, amongst other things, is 83. Tom Hollander, the actor in Rev and many other things, 54. Hugh Hudson, the film director, Chariots of Fire, is 85. Howard Jacobson, the novelist, is 79. Sir Andrew Longmore, the Lord Justice of Appeal, is 77. Professor Sir Colin Lucas, the historian and Vice-Chancellor of the University of Oxford till 2004, is 81. Amy MacDonald, the singer, is 34. Gary McCann, the chairman of the Flutter Entertainment Group, formerly Paddy Power Betfair, is 71. He can go fuck himself. Catriona Matthew, the golfer, Women's British Open champion in 2009, is 52. Clive Myrie, BBC News presenter and correspondent, host of Mastermind, is 57. Claudia Schiffer, the model, is 51. Tom Skerritt, the actor from MASH, is 88. Gene Simmons, bassist and co-lead singer of Kiss, 72. Alistair Spalding, chief executive and artistic director of Sadler's Wells Theatre, 64. Sir Christian Tickel, the environmentalist and former diplomat, is 91. Lord Jim Wallace of Tankernes, the Lib Dem leader in the House of Lords until 2016. Advocate General for Scotland until 2015, is 67. Joanne Whalley, the actress, is 57. And Joe Wright, the film director, is 49. In 1991, Linus Torvalds, a student, announced the first version of what would become the Linux computer operating system. And the last word in this column today goes to Henry James in Henry James A Life. 3 things in human life are important. The first is to be kind, the second is to be kind, and the third is to be kind. Fuck. Friday's Fuckface says, I'm looking for a new job now. They're trying to get us back into the office. Working at home is a perk, so they need to pay me more to go in. Yeah, this is fucking, yeah. What? Yeah, just, I hate this stuff. Like, I hate this stuff. It's ridiculous that they're trying to force people back in when it's not necessary. Christine Crossley of Chipping Norton writes, Sir, I echo Trevor Phillips' recommendation of Wes Streeting's list of extracurricular activities by the age of 10. Is Labour returning to socialism as more an affair of the heart than of the intellect? As Keir Hardie said, aligning its moral compass more from Methodism than Marxism? I do hope so. Oh, fuck off. Paul Larsman of Burbage, Wiltshire says, Sir, as a former political correspondent, London Tonight, ITN, and editor of a weekly political programme, The Week, ITN, I would never have dreamt of airing my political views in public, and yet once again a senior journalist is under fire for expressing allegedly party political views before her probable appointment as overseer of the BBC News channels. The difference, of course, is Twitter. In my day, any political views I might have expressed would have been to a couple of chums in the pub, where they would have been forgotten. Twitter means that those views now go global instantly and hang around for years. I'm surprised that Jess Brammer didn't realise this. Oh, fuck yourself, Paul. Right. And finally, Graham Holly says, Sir, Diana Nason is not alone in discovering the difference between worth and value. I put a working fridge outside my house with a note inviting anyone who wanted it to take it. To the consternation of my neighbours, it remained there for several days. I then replaced the note with one offering it for sale and for prospective purchasers to apply within. And it was stolen overnight. Oh, fuck me. In the world news, only democracy from Arab Spring returns to tyranny. That's in Tunisia. Taxman uses Google Earth to spy on property assets in France. There's a new toothbrush in France called the Y Brush that uses 35,000 nylon bristles that vibrate all at the same time to clean your teeth all at once. It's like a gum shield type thing. Kind of sounds like it might actually be a good idea. In the US, white Americans will be a minority within decades, writes the Times, as if this is a terrible, frightening thing, rather than, fine. Rikers Island inmates take over phones. Inmates at Rikers Island Prison in New York were said to be running wild, vandalising equipment, attacking officers and answering the phones because of staff shortages. Sorry, but that's funny to me. In Zambia, the new leader has vowed to free it from corruption. Okay, I wish we had a leader who would vow to free us from corruption. Hot take, the letter section of the Times is more unbearable than letter sections of the Sun. Do you know, Neon Lady? I think that's not a bad hypothesis. On page 31, there's a new comic book in France that honours a resistance heroine who shot a Nazi in the head. She's 97 years old. Her name is Madeleine Raffaut, and she's a fucking badass. In Egypt has restored the Pharaoh's Grand Avenue. One of the biggest open-air architectural sites in the world is due to open in Luxor in southern Egypt this winter after decades of work to uncover the 3,500-year-old Grand Avenue of the Sphinxes. Hundreds of homes along with mosques and a church have been demolished to make way for the restored 1.7-mile ancient road linking the Karnak and Luxor temple complexes. Originally built by Queen Hatshepsut in sometime between 1479 and 1458 BC, the second confirmed female pharaoh. The road was developed over the next 1,000 years and was flanked with up to 1,200 sphinxes, many with the heads of rams on sandstone bases. Ceremonial walkway was rediscovered in the 40s, having long been covered by urban development. The restored site is one of several large tourism projects that President Sisi is banking on to revive Egypt's flagging economy after the pandemic. In the business news, pension funds warning over £7 billion bid for Morrison's. On the front page of the Times too, it's jackets. Former boss at M&S is in line to lead the board of Asda. David Smith in the business column, he's the economics editor of the Sunday Times, says there's a better way of paying for social care than raising national insurance. What is his idea? A health and social care levy, as if we haven't heard that before. Right, of course, in the obituaries, the main obituary is of Charlie Watts. He gets a double-page spread. Also, Sarah Brodie, philosopher and expert on Aristotle, whose books combine ancient texts with contemporary ideas, has died. She died aged 79. Yeah, wasn't a tax on the wealthy. Of course it wasn't. Imagine that. Trying to sell you a cruise of the West Indies. Raducanu begins her American dream in very familiar fashion. Wimbledon sensations attempt to qualify for US Open draws parallels with Andy Murray's rise, Stuart Fraser says. Really. John Stubbs, Paralympic GB's oldest athlete, says archery gave him a reason to live. England's recalled Greenwood and Trent and Trent Alexander after they missed the Euros for the forthcoming campaign. Aston Villa beat Barrow 6-0. Watford beat Crystal Palace 1-0. Brentford beat Forest Green Rovers at 3-1. So coverage of is coverage Norwich in here? No coverage of Norwich. That's unsurprising, really. And on the back page, provoke us at your peril, says Virat Kohli promised his Indian team were not going to back down and take a backward step when provoked. And MPs put pressure on Yorkshire to release the racism report. So there you go. That's today's Times. I don't know. Any animal stories? Not really. So a classic negative nice, I'd say. That's today's Times. And we come finally to the Daily Mail. Of course, it features Charlie Watts on its front page. I think all these minus 69 from Slinkermeyer for the Daily Times. Sorry, I do think these front page coverage of Charlie Watts dying is justified. I mean, it's a big story. Probably the second biggest band of all time. So they go with the headline, Farewell to Charlie, the reluctant stone, loyal to one woman. The main story is Taliban slam the door shut. Biden won't delay retreat, trapping brave translators. And they also cover the search of the gravel pit in the search 12 years after the disappearance of Claudia Lawrence. On page 3, there's a story about quads who are all 21 and are all becoming nurses in the same hospital trust, which is a kind of cool story, really. On pages 4 and 5, Claudia Kopp's new hunt, 12 years after chef's disappearance. Detectives swoop on flooded gravel pits just 8 miles from her home. On pages 6 and 7, Boris cash offer to Taliban. Boris Johnson made a dramatic offer to the Taliban last night, saying the West would unfreeze hundreds of millions of pounds in funding if the group agreed to a string of conditions. Of course, the Mail also covers the meeting between the Taliban and the head of the CIA. There's a pretty disturbing set of pictures of the absolute cramped conditions of people stuck between a wall and a shipping container trying to make their way into Kabul airport. On pages 10 and 11, Stuart Ramsey, chief correspondent for Sky News, who's at Kabul airport, writes, I watched the desperate wade in sewage as hope fades and tears fall. On pages 12 and 13, Rock Who Held Stones Together. It's a 2-page spread on Charlie Watts with the tributes from Ringo Starr, Paul McCartney and Elton John. I'm going to hydrate myself even though no one asked me to, because I am thirsty as hell. They follow up with another 2 pages on Charlie Watts, including a big range of pictures from his years in the Stones. On page 17, Greatest Show on Earth, Part 2, they talk about the Paralympics opening ceremony. Sarah Vine is awful. She writes for the second time in a week about Love Island, calls ecological protesters eco-zealots, writes about the tiger who came to Teething. Of course she does. Just, catnip for her. Davina McCall says she attacks Davina McCall over this ginned up story about the menopause. She mentions being married to a cabinet minister and uses that as a way of of giving her view on the Dominic Raab thing. Not for long, eh? Some other details about that you could be telling us, though, aren't there, Sarah? Anyway, on page 21, mums to be offered a same-day test for fatal blood condition. It's a good thing. Michael Fabricant, the bewigged Tory MP, as described by the Daily Mail here, mocks his colleague Jacob Rees-Mogg following his latter's appearance on Nigel Farage's GB News show. Shock horror, Nigel Farage pronounces the island of Grenada correctly, while Jacob thinks it's an ITV company based in Manchester or a Spanish city. Cheeky monkey, Grenada, sorry. Cheeky monkey, Jacob's his leader of the Commons. Or they can go both fuck themselves, can't they? Opinionated TV presenter Kirsty Allstott, returning from Switzerland, shares her latest view. You can bet that the vast majority of your favourite TV folk have holidayed abroad this summer, but they don't talk about the pointless rules or highlight the damage being done to the travel industry because they're gutless and focus on their pay packets and public profiles. Unlike Kirsty, shouldn't a berth be found for an exquisitely upholstered TV siren in the Commons? No, fuck off. We don't want more former TV fuckwits in the Commons. On page 23, various pictures of Emma Corrin from the latest issue of W magazine. There's some quite fun pictures. They cover the debt from the Dr. No casino. On page 25, booster jabs targeted at the most vulnerable. I mean, that seems sensible. Right, here's the thing that drove me fucking crazy, and I hope it drives you crazy too. On pages 26 and 27, on the back of that story about the man who attacked the guy who had bullied him at school, various Daily Mail writers, including Petronella Wyatt, Shona Sibbery, Rebecca Wilcox, Samantha Brick, her again, Jessica Fellows, and Charlie Hoare write, what would you do if you met your old school bully? And they basically write letters to their old school bullies. Here's the thing. The Daily Mail is the biggest fucking bully in British media. It is an abusive publication that bullies people endlessly. If these people really had been truly affected by the bullying that they suffered at school, or had learned the lesson from it, then they wouldn't write for the Daily Mail. I was bullied at school. Shock. And I wouldn't and will. I see in the behaviour of the Mail the classic hallmarks of a bully. It is a bullying publication, so fuck themselves. Right, on this day, August 25th, 2021, the Daily Mail was writing in 1975. It is the most spectacular of British holiday treats. Bank holiday treats, champagne and caviar while flying 11 miles high aboard Concorde. Concorde, writes Peter Burkett. Tonight I am with 35 of the luckiest people in Britain, flying at twice the speed of sound on the aircraft's first public passenger flight. They were chosen for the free trip in a draw organised by British Airways as a thank you to Britain's taxpayers, who have contributed £500 million towards developing the world's most exciting airliner. He definitely had a hard-on, didn't he? Yeah, Slinkermeyer, you are correct. That's spectacular doublethink from the Daily Mail. Happy birthday to... on this day in 1990, August 25th, the Daily Mail wrote, Belfast hostage Brian Keenan was freed in Beirut last night after 1,596 days in captivity, and today he will have a joyous reunion with his two sisters, Brenda Gilliam, 46, and Elaine Spence, 29, whose 4-year crusade for his release finally paid off. Happy birthday to Claudia Schiffer, she's 51, and to Frederick Forsyth, who's 83. Also born on this day, Sean Connery, born 1930, died 2020, and John Barden, born 1939, died 2014. The actor from Middlesex made his name in the 60s as Doc Cotton's husband In his 60s is Doc Cotton's husband, Jim Branning. He courted her in a graveyard and proposed on the London Eye. Neighbours in Turkey, where he had a holiday home, told him they learned English by watching the soap. On August 25th in 1939, Britain entered into a formal military alliance with Poland, promising to defend the country in case of invasion. And in 2009, Ted Kennedy, JFK's youngest brother and the fourth longest serving senator in US history, died. He was 77. Lived a lot longer than the woman he left to drown in a car. Quote of the day, clutter and mess show us that life is being lived. That's Anne Lamott, the US novelist. And joke of the day. Some people have trouble sleeping, but I can do it with my eyes closed. Of course, they cover the Nigella slot story, changing the name of the recipe. There's a ridiculous story about a family on a beach spotting a migrant boat coming ashore and how shocked they were. Neon Lady says, call me cold-hearted, but in my opinion, everyone who writes to the Daily Mail wasn't bullied enough in school if they were bullied at all. Sigmar says, I enjoyed it, the word doublethink, and initially auto-corrected to doublet hunk. I prefer a doublet hunk. Did Sting get stung when he bought a vineyard, is the headline they put on that. They do a whole page on the fact that there were some older people amongst the Extinction Rebellion protest with the headline, Fury of the Grey Greens. Anne Lamott is fabulous, is studying Fango. Yeah. Eager Beavers, rewilding success may seem the return across Britain. Good. Who doesn't love an eager beaver? In the Money Mail, the dirty secret behind your clean energy deal, various other things, the inheritance lottery, all that kind of stuff. I don't really care. Pick of the day in the TV pages is Coastal Devon, Cornwall with Michael Portillo, 8 p.m, Channel 5. Rather take a cheese grater to my balls than watch that. Fuck off, Sting. I agree. Sinkamaya. The film choice today is Personal Shopper, 11:15 on BBC Two. Kristen Stewart takes the lead in an atmospheric and unsettling mystery from Oliver Assayas. She stars as a mousy personal assistant to a Paris fashion model, playing dress-up with her employer's wardrobe while also working as a medium and trying to contact her dead twin brother. In the TV reviews, Britannia gets 4 stars. Unbelievable moments caught on camera gets just 2 stars. Coins! Coins! Coins alert! Coins! 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 Coins. Coins, a fitting tribute to the people's princess. An official coin, free to the nation. It's a Diana coin. You just do postage and packing and you get the Diana coin. Remember, of course, once you order the Diana coin, you will also then be sent endless other coins. Coins, 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 coins. Right, in the cartoons today, person in the room is out buying noodles for herself, so she is not here to shout no coins from off screen. In Garfield today, Garfield and Odie are hanging out. In Chloe and Co, Chloe and her friend are drinking and talking about clothes. And in Fred Bassett smells some nice food being cooked at the holiday camp where he's staying and jumps through a bush to find the neighbours cooking sausages. A good day for Fred Bassett. Right, on to the poem of the day. Oh, this is a real... I mean, I know they're bad, but this one looks really bad. This one is called the Banger Bonking Gonguzula. Yes, that's right. The Banger Bonking Gonguzula. Chronotherm, Chloe drinking count, 3 out of 3. Talking about men count, 2 out of 3. Yes, today she was just talking about short skirts. So I guess technically, it passed the Bechdel test today. Yes, the Banger Bonking Gongazula. To lie upon the riverbank on a hot summer's day and watch the world go floating by, there's nothing left to say, except perhaps that we don't do enough of it these days. The art of pure relaxing has just vanished in the haze of work and social media. Your profile on the net is more important than real life. Real life's real, let's not forget. The Cumbrian Gongazula and the Gloucester Banger Bonker, they would run round madly like some frenzied Willy Wonka. They quietly watch the puffy clouds serenely sailing by, without criss-cross of tram lines in a hectic jet-filled sky. It's getting back to normal, or whatever that might be. Don't fall back into madness, keep an element of free. And that is from Ruth Twyman Locker of the Isle of Wight.
That was shit.
That was so shit. So, Ruth, sorry, but that was really shit. Like, have a word with yourself. The limerick today comes from I.G. Fenner, who's been bylined on previous limericks in this column. And it goes, crisis, what crisis, Rob said. I'm on holiday, I'm still in bed, so on my behalf, just get one of my staff to make all my phone calls instead. Again, not great. And the last one, rhyme for our time, from Peter Freeland, who writes, there was a crooked man who had a crooked spine. A crooked surgeon straightened it, and both are doing fine. Shit all the way down. Right, and now to the straight to the point letters. M. Busby writes, does Rab stand for ring after another break? Mary Noakes of Basel and Essex says, I've no doubt rainbow police cars will instill fear into the hearts of thugs and criminals. Jay Wormsley, frequently featured in this column, writes, to complement rainbow squad cars, circus clowns have been asked to come up with new uniform designs. Evelyn Evans says, surely after cutting short his holiday after one day, Boris Johnson had more important things to worry about than buying groceries. Somebody feed the poor man. Fuck off. Keith Jeffrey says, good to see Boris being domesticated by doing the shopping. Shame he didn't think about the planet by taking his own bags. Philip Smith says, a new sport for the next Olympic Games, bandwagon jumping. Keir Starmer will be guaranteed a medal. Wait. Norman Wanstall says, 20 gender variations and 9 types of sexuality. The first question you parents ask is, have we had a boy or a girl? Norman, mate, it's fucking boring, isn't it? It's just... Put it in the WhatsApp group that your family don't read anymore. Lindsay Perkins writes, I too have no problem opening bleach bottles, but need to hand my 5-year-old grandson the tub of laundry capsules. Well, there's a casualty episode beginning, if ever there was one. And finally, Richard Ware says, apart from a pneumatic chest and more tattoos than brain cells, what qualifications are needed to appear on Love Island? About as many as writing into the fucking Daily Mail letters page, Richard. Right. Today's recipe is lentils with charred broccoli and ginger. Gotta be honest, looks like vomit. Looks like absolute vomit. Slinkermeyer, I absolutely agree. Men doing shopping is not... It shouldn't be considered something noble. It's literally just doing the shopping. Chronotherm says, looking forward to the Diana Memorial coin, which has Prince Philip on one side and the paparazzi on motorbikes on the other. Agrees. Lincoln shit all the way down does sum up the Mail. They're trying to get you to do a no-fly, all-inclusive cruise, and it includes a... such gratuities as Wi-Fi, where does it go? Copenhagen, Stockholm, Estonia, St. Petersburg. Yours for just £1,829 per person at the lowest price. What else is here? Trying to sell you a hedge trimmer, various mattresses, one of those ionic bracelets. Where Eamon was selling the vibrating pad in the Sun, we get him selling. We get Ruth doing it in the Mail. DM needs to start a letter writers WhatsApp group. So they can find new deranged columnists. Chronotherm, yeah. Red Tick Seed, I agree. Norman needs to fuck off and get a new joke. In the City and Finance, pension trustees sound alarm over £7 billion. Morrison's bid. Samsung plots £150 billion investment spree. In the sport, Raducanu learns fast for US test. From a car-crashing snowman to a goal-smashing showman, Antonio is dancing his way into the Hammers parts. And on the back page, England fume. Players angry as ECB fat cats to pocket £2.1 million bonus after squad took pay cut during COVID crisis last summer. That is the Daily Mail for today. For me, it's a quadruple negative nice. Minus 69, 69, 69, 69. Time for the final roll call of the day and all the usual guff. So, give me your scores for the Mail. If you want to help support the show, it's been a little light in the paper fund recently. Paper fund is paypal.me/conquest of the useless. Another way you can help is just by subscribing to the newsletter. You can subscribe for free, but if you like it, upgrade to a paid subscription. That is brokenbottleboy.substack.com. And of course, do join the Discord, where many fine people from this show chat are part of it. Thank you, Slinkermeyer, for your rating of the Daily Mail, which is a quadruple negative nice, same as me. Right, time for the final roll call, and then I will close up the show for today, and I will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. with another exciting episode of deranged British newspaper content. I'm, of course, the Broken Bottle Boy, Mick Wright. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy if you want to. Of course, follow me here if you're a new viewer and you want to be alerted when the show is on. Do that. Maybe even subscribe here if you've got a Prime subscription you haven't used. In the chat today, we've had Academy Impossible, Anglefur, thank you for joining us. Another TT viewer, Ashflats McNulty, Billy Wilder, Clara Bow 82, Commander Root, Farage's Fuckface, Friar Bentos, Hot Girl from Cali, Industrial Pet, Chronotherm, Lilith Miscaria, thank you for joining the Discord. Mogshed, Red Tixie, Revol 1285, Rimastino, Slinker Maya, Stream Elements. Well, Stream Elements is the bot. Studying Fangirl, the Neon Lady, V&K, and Exo Kokodo. Thank you all for being here on this Wednesday show. As I say, I will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. If you're watching this on YouTube, and the show does go up on YouTube every day after I finished here, do like, subscribe, and do all that other stuff. I do really appreciate it. Perhaps even leave a comment. Save me from the spammers who keep leaving comments on it. Anyway, thank you all very much. Let me just check the chats. Cheers, Friar Bentos. Cheers, Slinkermeyer. See you tomorrow. I hope you all have an excellent afternoon. Find me on Twitter as ever, or on the Discord. Cheers all. Bye-bye.